A woman was on the phone with 911 in Garland saying her boyfriend was shooting inside the apartment, was found dead after her call suddenly disconnected. The call taker heard an argument between 28-year-old Keandra Long and a man. It took only minutes for officers to arrive at the complex May 16th. Inside, they found Long with multiple gunshot wounds and her ex-boyfriend, 36-year-old Gregory Lowe of Mesquite, with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Detectives say their preliminary investigation leads them to believe it was a murder-suicide, but they're still waiting for the Dallas County Medical Examiner's Office before issuing the official cause of death. Police were called about a verbal argument between the two in July of 2020, but there were no reports of any violence in that case. Katie Johnston for CBSN DFW.
Keandra Long, 28, worked as a nurse and lived in Garland, Texas. On the evening of July 29, 2024, she was at home when an unplanned encounter unfolded. Authorities later confirmed that a call was placed to 911 from her phone. The line remained open long enough for the dispatcher to hear both voices and background noises that indicated a developing confrontation. In those minutes, the conversation between Keandra and the man with her was partially captured. Investigators say the man was known to her. Words were exchanged, movement was heard, and then an abrupt escalation followed. The call did not end when the tension rose. It remained active, allowing the dispatcher to continue hearing the situation shift. There was no time for responders to arrive before the final sound was transmitted. Police were dispatched immediately to the location linked to the call. What they found when they entered the residence matched the urgency that had been communicated over the line. Evidence inside provided a clear sequence of events for investigators. Though much it was already preserved and alive, recording received by the 911 center. The man involved was not at the scene when officers arrived. A search began quickly, using witness accounts, known associations, and surveillance footage from nearby properties. The recording from that evening became a central piece of the case, offering an unfiltered timeline of the incident as it unfolded in real time. What began as a routine night inside a quiet home in Garland would end with law enforcement pursuing a suspect and examining a series of choices made before, during, and after the critical moments. The unanswered questions from those last minutes now form the core of the investigation. If you enjoy real crime stories that uncover the truth, don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us share real cases, spread awareness, and give a voice to those who can't speak for themselves. Before we begin, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? And what are your thoughts as the story unfolds? Welcome to True Crime Uncovered, where we examine the cases that shake communities and expose what happens behind closed doors. Real stories, real people, real impact. Subscribe now and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Keandra Long was a 28-year-old nurse living in Garland, Texas. Public records and tributes on gunmemorial.org confirm her identity and profession. She resided in an apartment located in the 6300 block of Nauman Forest Boulevard, a residential area in the northeastern part of the city. According to the Dallas Morning News, she had been living independently and had previously been in a relationship with a man later identified as Gregory Lowe. The same Dallas Morning News report noted that Keandra had prior police contact related to her ex-boyfriend. In July 2020, law enforcement officers were dispatched to her residence in response to a verbal argument between the two. No physical violence was reported during that encounter, and no arrests or charges were filed at the time. The incident was documented, but closed without further police action. On May 16, 2021, Keandra was inside her apartment when the events leading to her death began to unfold. According to Dallas News and CBS News Texas, at approximately 9:20 p.m. on the evening of May 16th, Keandra placed a 911 call to report an armed threat inside her home. She identified her ex-boyfriend as the person who had opened fire in the apartment. The dispatcher who took the call could hear the background of the unfolding confrontation. Both verbal exchanges and environmental sounds indicated the presence of heightened tension. The operator later reported hearing what appeared to be an argument, followed by gunfire. Keandra's voice was heard stating she had been shot. Shortly after that statement, the call disconnected. Dispatchers immediately initiated an urgent police and medical response to the address associated with her phone. Emergency units from Garland Police Department and medical responders were dispatched within minutes. Their route took them to the Nauman Forest Boulevard apartment complex where the call originated. Upon arrival, officers entered the apartment and located two individuals. CBS News and Dallas News both confirmed that Kendra was found with multiple gunshot wounds. She was pronounced dead at the scene by emergency medical personnel. Also inside the residence, officers discovered 36-year-old Gregory Lowe, identified as a resident of Mesquite, Texas. He was found suffering from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Lowe was transported by emergency medical services to a nearby hospital for treatment, but later died. Investigators at the scene began collecting physical evidence, including ballistic materials, shell casings, and other items potentially relevant to reconstructing the events. Crime scene technicians also photographed the interior layout and any visible signs of forced entry or disturbance. Witnesses from within the apartment complex were interviewed. Statements were taken from individuals who reported hearing loud noises or gunshots around the time of the incident. Based on preliminary findings, Garland Police Department classified the incident as an apparent murder-suicide. This determination was grounded on the physical evidence, the 911 recording, and the location and nature of both victims' injuries. Authorities stated that the Dallas County Medical Examiner's Office would conduct autopsies to officially determine the causes and manners of death for both Long and Lowe. According to CBS News, police awaited these results to confirm the initial classification. The investigative focus at this stage included verifying the timeline of events leading up to the shooting, reviewing the July 2020 police report for any indicators of escalating behavior, examining communications between Kendra and Lowe prior to May 16, 2021, gathering surveillance video from the apartment complex and nearby properties to track the suspect's movements before and after entering the apartment. Once the medical examiner's reports were complete, law enforcement intended to close the case, barring any unexpected findings. The 911 call remained a central piece of the investigation. Dispatch record preserved the timing of each significant sound or verbal exchange. This audio provided an unfiltered sequence of the confrontation from the moment Kendra called for help until the call abruptly ended. Investigators also examined whether the suspect had any documented criminal history beyond the 2020 verbal dispute. Public records and court filings were checked for restraining orders, prior arrests, or documented threats. Police reviewed witness statements to determine if any neighbors had observed Lowe arriving at the complex or entering Kendra's apartment that evening. Investigators sought to establish whether he had been invited in, had forced entry, or had gained access through other means. Local media, including the Dallas Morning News and CBS News Texas, reported the case details shortly after confirmation from police. The reports highlighted the unusual factor that the final moments of the incident had been partially captured on a live emergency call. While the case was labeled an apparent murder-suicide, authorities refrained from releasing full details about the content of the 9/11 recording to the public, citing the sensitivity of the material. Following the official determination of the causes of death by the Dallas County Medical Examiner, police closed the case file. No further criminal proceedings were possible due to the death of the suspected shooter. What information from the 911 call could help reconstruct the exact sequence of events inside the apartment? Could the prior police contact in July 2020 have been a warning sign of potential escalation? Did the suspect plan the encounter in advance? And what evidence supports that conclusion? Were there opportunities for intervention between 2020 and 2021 that could have altered the outcome? How did the suspect gain access to the apartment on May 16th? And was there any indication Kendra expected him? What lessons can be drawn from the timeline between the 911 call and the arrival of emergency responders? The incident took place inside an apartment located in the 6300 block of Nauman Forest Boulevard in Garland, Texas. CBS News, WFAA. Garland police were dispatched to the specific location after receiving a 911 call. The complex was confirmed as the exact site where multiple gunshot wounds occurred, setting the stage for investigation and immediate response. CBS News, Star-Telegram. Kendra LaQuinta Long, age 28, worked professionally as a nurse. The suspect, Gregory Lowe, age 36 and hailing from Mesquite, had previously been involved in a nonviolent, verbal dispute with her in July 2020. That prior incident which did not escalate into physical violence, was recorded by responding officers, CBS News, WFAA. The prior dispute was verbal only and took place over a cell phone without physical altercation, CBS News. The question remains, did that altercation reflect a broader unresolved dynamic that preceded the fatal event? Were there any additional unreported incidents or underlying patterns that preceded the night of May 16, 2021? During the call, the dispatcher reported hearing an argument, followed by gunfire. Kendra reportedly stated that she had been shot before the line disconnected, CBS News. The pace and nature of the escalation remain critical. How long did the dispatcher hear perceived threats before gunshots? Did the audio capture any distinct dialogue or changes in tone suggesting intent or panic? The call was placed on the evening of May 16, 2021, and police entered the apartment within minutes of the disconnect, CBS News, Star Telegram. Kendra was found with multiple gunshot wounds and pronounced dead on the scene. Lowe was located simultaneously with a self-inflicted gunshot injury and transported to hospital, where he was later pronounced dead, CBS News, Star Telegram, WFAA. Precise response times, the duration from call to arrival, could clarify whether intervention occurred within critical windows. Public records, initial news reports, and dispatch logs do not reference surveillance footage or witness statements. Given the location, an apartment complex, did security cameras, neighbor statements, or sighting logs contribute to the investigative timeline? If not, what limitations did investigators encounter in sourcing corroborating perspectives? Investigators publicly stated they were awaiting confirmation from the Dallas County Medical Examiner's office to finalize causes of death for both Kendra and Lowe, CBS News. Was it confirmed there was a murder-suicide? Kendra shot by Lowe, followed by Lowe's self-inflicted wound? Are specific trajectories, residue tests, or other forensic findings documented? Published materials reference only prior contact in 2020. There is no detailed public record of motive, mental health background, or police assessments of Lowe's state of mind. Did investigators gain insight into his behavior pattern, communication before the incident, or any stressors? Was the possibility of premeditation or emotional breakdown systematically evaluated? No reporting indicates that restraining orders or protective orders were in place between Kendra and Lowe. Had Kendra sought any formal protective intervention prior to the fatal incident? Did police records or family statements note any request for safety measures in the months leading up to May 2021? Preliminary investigative conclusions favored murder-suicide based on the call and scene evidence, pending medical examiner confirmation, CBS News. Once confirmed, were formal documents issued to denote investigative completion? Did legal authorities label the case closed with no pending suspects or charges? Media coverage states investigators classified it as murder-suicide, but there is no public mention of policy, legal, or domestic violence prevention responses. Did Garland police or local agencies initiate community awareness campaigns, review domestic safety protocols, or recommend support services following the case? July 2020, Garland police respond to a family disturbance, a verbal, non-physical argument over a cell phone between Kendra Long and Gregory Lowe, CBS News. Evening, May 16, 2021. Kendra places a 911 call from her apartment in the 6300 block of Nauman Forest Boulevard. She reports her ex-boyfriend is firing shots inside. The operator hears an argument, a gunshot, and Kendra saying she's been shot before the line drops, CBS News, Star Telegram. Minutes later, officers force entry into the apartment. Kendra is found deceased with multiple gunshot wounds. Lowe is found with self-inflicted injury. Kendra is pronounced dead on scene. Lowe is transported to a hospital and pronounced dead there. CBS News, Star Telegram, WFAA. Investigation. Based on preliminary findings, police treat it as a murder-suicide. Confirmation of cause of death pending from Dallas County Medical Examiner, CBS News. Post-investigation. Public records do not reveal follow-up developments. No mention of community action, policy change, protective measures, or survivor outreach. Did the prior verbal dispute in 2020 indicate deeper tensions that went undocumented? Could this event have been prevented with earlier interventions? How might closer analysis of the 911 audio, timestamps, tone, escalation clues, provide insight into whether Kendra anticipated lethal violence before the call? Did the rapid police entry correspond to life-saving potential? Could even seconds of delay have been crucial? In the absence of surveillance or witness records, what gaps remain in reconstructing the timeline? Once the medical examiner confirmed cause, what specifically was determined? Single shooter, sequence of shots, self-infliction corroborated? Why might motive or mental health background remain unreported? Is there a privacy rationale or investigative limitation? If no protective measures were in place, what barriers might victims face when requesting help against nonviolent but threatening ex-partners? Did the absence of follow-through prompt wider community discussions, or did the case conclude quietly with no apparent policy ripple effect? If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.